Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. If you don't know me, my name is Laya. So today's practice will be centered around flexibility. What I mean with that is not that we're going to be doing crazy flexible postures. It's more about tapping into how flexible you feel physically, mentally, and energetically today. So really, it's more about how aware are you, how able are you to sustain certain energies, certain situations, and we'll explore that through postures, breath, and having a good time. Make sure that you have some things with you. One of them may be a yoga mat and or a sturdy surface that is gentle enough on your body. I have 2 blocks because I like to bring the ground up to me. I like to adapt postures. You could also have blankets, pillows, a wall near you, or none of those things and you're gonna be just fine. Bring yourself to your mat. You're gonna start lying down on the back. You can bring your back body to the earth. Maybe your legs extend. Just give yourself time to make yourself comfortable. You know, if your hair is uncomfortable, move it around. If your hips are uncomfortable, move them around. And bring your feet flat on the earth with your knees facing up, or stretch your legs. You could also bring your feet a little bit wider and allow the knees to rest over one another, as if you were creating a tent. Let your hands rest anywhere on your body or near you. And if you're ready to soften your gaze or close your eyes, you can do that. But if, like some of us, maybe you have some fidgety, nervous energy moving through you today, give yourself a moment to move that energy. So maybe you wiggle your fingers, your toes. Perhaps you move your head from side to side, or stretch or yawn, whatever you need. Let yourself breathe in deeply and breathe out completely. And eventually, see if you can let that energy settle. Just let like leaves falling from a tree down toward the earth, toward the ground. And bring yourself to as much stillness as is available for you right now. Allow your eyes to soften or to close. And take a moment to become aware of your surroundings. The sounds of people, of nature. And more than anything, observe your ability to perhaps move from one sound to the next. Or perhaps observe how you get stuck in one particular sound and start to create stories around it. Observe how quickly you get drawn in from the sensations in your body. And how quickly you can bring yourself back to noticing what's going on as you draw your attention closer and closer to yourself. Take a deep inhalation through your nose, allowing your belly, your rib cage, and your chest to expand. And on your exhalation, let yourself soften and relax a little bit more toward the earth, even if it's 1% more. Inhale, observing the expansion. Exhale to soften more and more and more. One more just like that. Take a deep breath in. And a long, slow breath out. Arriving into your practice. Noticing how your body feels. Any sensations that perhaps also grab your attention. See if you can start to move away a little. and observe instead of engage with what's going on. Take a deep inhalation through your nose. Open your mouth and let it go, maybe with sound. Again, inhale. Exhale. Stretch your arms overhead. Maybe stretch your legs away from you, giving your entire body a deep stretch. Maybe you yawn. Maybe you make sound again. Whatever you need. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, start to bring your feet back to the ground. Roll toward either side. Maybe you curl in for a moment. And then from there, start to rise into a seat of your choice. You could sit on the ground. You could also grab one of your blocks and sit on it, or maybe you have a blanket or anything that you want to elevate your hips. And give yourself a moment to ground the sitting bones, roll the shoulders, lengthen through your neck. Take a deep breath in, filling up your entire body. Open your mouth and let it go. 2 more times like that. Inhale, fill up your entire body. Front to back, side to side, top to bottom. Let go. 1 more. Inhale. Exhale. Notice how your body is placed, where you can relax a little bit. And begin to observe as well the cadence of breath that you've been fostering for the last few moments, for the last few minutes. See if you can let every inhalation elongate a little bit more, expand a little bit more. And if every exhalation can release you deeper and deeper into this moment. Beginning to observe if your mind engages in things of the future or the past. Can you nudge yourself right in the middle? Right here, right now. Just as you are. Take a deep inhalation. Sigh out. If it resonates with you, perhaps one hand rests on your abdomen, the other hand could rest on your heart. And I invite you now to take a moment to ask yourself, what is it that I want to embody throughout this practice? Or maybe throughout the day? What do I want to explore this week? Or maybe in the next breath? What energies do I want to cultivate and invite? And perhaps ask yourself, why? Take a deep inhalation through the nose, letting it expand. Sigh it out, releasing any resistance, any stories, any misbeliefs, any fears. Who would you be on your mat, on your day, this week, this month, whatever you want? If the fear or the misbelief, whatever it is that's holding you back to be truly who you want to be, would pull back just 1%. Take a deep breath in. and side out. Release your hands back down if you brought them to the chest. Bring your sitting bones more comfortably onto the earth or your seat, elongating the spine once again. Take a deep breath in, reaching through the crown of the head. And on your exhalation, bring your right ear to the right shoulder, extending through the left side of your neck. You can stay or extend your left arm out to the side if you want, and maybe you start to flip your arm and notice here the different sensations and the stretches that arise. Deepening the stretch only if it matters, only if you want to, by taking your right hand over the left ear. One more inhale. And as you exhale, release your hands back down. If you lifted them up, bring your neck to neutral. Breathe in to lengthen through the spine, from the sitting bones to the crown of the head. Exhale, take the other ear to the shoulder. Stay there or extend your right arm out this time. Notice what happens if you flip your palm forward or back. Observe what happens in stillness or in movement. And choose what aligns with you right now. Perhaps your left hand comes over the head. But wherever you are, what's your breath like? One more inhale. And exhale. Release your hands back down. Bring your neck to neutral. Inhale, lift your shoulders up toward your ears. Exhale, roll them back and down the back. 2 more times like that. Inhale, roll your shoulders up. Maybe your elbows lift up a little. Exhale, roll back and down. 1 more. Inhale. And exhale. Switch directions. Inhale, take your shoulder blades toward one another. Elbows back. Exhale, roll forward and down. 2 more times. And slowly releasing the movement, let your hands rest on your lap, your knees. Inhale, take your hands all the way up. Interlace your hands, flip your palms up, and stretch your arms as little or as much as you want. They don't have to stretch all the way for any reason. Your shoulders could be relaxed down, they could be lifted up. Whatever gives the side body more extension, more stretch, more length. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, you could stay here, or maybe you lean a little bit toward the right, opening the left side of the body. Maybe you let yourself look to the right as well. Keep grounding through both sitting bones as evenly as feels good. And on your inhalation, come back through center, gaze goes forward, find length again. Exhale, maybe you lean a little bit to the other side. And the lean could be so minimal. It could be just moving the hands just a bit toward the left, or it could be taking the entire body a little bit toward the left as your sitting bones remain grounded. 1 more inhale and exhale. Come back through center, release your hands, and if you want to, you can do circles with your wrists all the way down. And then you can shake your hands, shake your wrists, breathe in and breathe out. Lean back a little, bring your knees toward one another. If you're sitting on a block, it may no longer be comfortable, so feel free to move it. And keep your feet in front of you as narrow or as wide as you want to make sure that there's enough space for your abdomen. And then you can let yourself sway a little side to side. Maybe you give yourself a hug and relax your head down. 1 more breath. And then slowly lift yourself up. Come up toward a tabletop position, hands and knees. If your knees are sensitive, as always, bring a blanket underneath them or a towel. You could also pinch your mat and then slide it and double fold it. And that for a lot of folks will give a little bit of padding, yeah? You can also bring your hands flat to the floor, spreading your fingers wide, or if you rather, you can make fists with your hands if that's best for your wrists. And start to mobilize your hips here a little bit side to side, mobilizing the spine. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more, breathe in. And breathe out. Stop the movement here, and on your inhalation, send your right leg behind you. Keep your toes on the ground and stretch back through the heel. Really feel the length from the right heel through the leg, through the hips, and all the way to the crown of your head. Inhale. And on your exhalation, you can lift your toes, but you could keep them on the ground and drag them through. as you start to bring your right foot between your hands. For some of us, you may have to grab the ankle with your hand and give it a little bit of help to get to the front. Some people may float it forward. Bring your hands to frame your right foot on the floor, or if you have blocks, your hands can rest on your blocks as you start to lift your chest up, or maybe your hands rest on your right thigh. Take a deep breath in and out. One more, inhale. And on your exhalation, begin to hinge at your hips and stack your right or your left hip rather over your left knee. No further, yeah? Once you're there, perhaps your right leg is fully extended, and that's great for you. Perhaps your knee is bent, and that's great for you. Or you start to explore sliding your right heel a little bit forward. Draw the right hip back and your left hip forwards, and then find the sensation that you seek there. You can allow your foot to be floppy if that's what works for you, or you could point and flex your foot and notice if the sensation shifts, if it creates anything that you want to explore today. But stay with the breath. One more, inhale and exhale. Start to bring your right leg back next to your left. Take a moment to move your hips side to side. Breathe in and breathe out. Find stability in your tabletop. This time, take your left leg behind you. Keep your toes on the ground and press back through your heel, creating a little bit of activation through the leg, the core, shoulders and the arms. Breathe in. Breathe out. Keep your toes on the ground or lift them up. It's up to you. Inhale. And on your exhalation, take your time to draw your left knee toward the chest and eventually bring your left foot between your hands. However you get there is absolutely up to you. See if you can stack your left ankle and your left knee somewhat over one another. And then from there, maybe your hands find the floor or your blocks or your left thigh as you start to explore lifting your chest. Press down through your left foot and start to observe that traction of drawing your left hip back and your right hip gently forward. One more breath, inhale. And on your exhalation, begin to hinge at the hips until your right hip stacks over the right knee. And perhaps you stay here and you could explore flexing and pointing the foot, and the sensation on the back of the left leg may be absolutely sufficient for many of us. Perhaps you start to move your left heel slightly forward. But see if you can keep your spine long and draw your left hip back and your right hip forward. As you inhale and exhale in stillness, or you flex and point your foot, or find anything that works for you. Breathe. Let yourself observe how your mind relates to what's going on in your body and your energy. One more inhale. And on your exhalation, take your left leg back to meet the right. Move your blocks to one side if you're using them. Shift your weight forward, bringing yourself to a knee plank. So perhaps your knees must move back a little bit. Inhale. And on your exhalation, bring yourself down to your abdomen. Make a pillow with your hands for a moment and rest your forehead down. Gently wiggle your hips from side to side as you inhale and exhale. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Squeeze them to the sides of the ribcage and press down through the fingertips, including the thumb. And on your inhalation, slowly lift your chest. You don't have to go very far, but see if you can feel the opening and the gentle stretch in the front of the body, engaging the back body. And on your exhalation, slowly bring yourself back down. 2 more times like that. As you inhale, slowly press up, noticing what happens in the opening of the front body. How much space do you have right now? How much capacity do you have to be where you are? And on your exhalation, lower. 1 more. Inhale, slowly press up. And exhale, slowly lower. Make a pillow with your hands again. Rest your forehead down. Wiggle your hips. Massage your forehead from temple to temple. Inhale. And exhale. Bring your hands under your shoulders again. Inhale, lift your chest into your cobra. Exhale, bring your hips back. Now you could return to your tabletop, Or if you rather, you can keep your hands a little bit more forward, tuck your toes, and send your hips up and back. Keep your knees really bent here and crouch back. So try to bring your belly toward your thighs and find more extension to the arms. If your knees are down, walk your hands slightly forward and find puppy pose here. One more breath wherever you are. Inhale. And on your exhalation, slowly ripple forward. Find a plank or a knee plank. Breathe in. Breathe out, bend your elbows straight back, lower down knees, chest, and chin. Point your toes back. Inhale to lift your chest. Exhale, bring yourself to tabletop, or this time, if you want to, perhaps you bring yourself to down dog. And this time, feel free to extend your legs a little bit more if that works for you, or if you want to, not necessary. How much stretching do you actually need right now? What serves you? Breathe in. Breathe out. One more, inhale, and exhale. On your next inhalation, shift forward to a plank or a knee plank, breathe in. And as you breathe out, slowly lower yourself down to your abdomen, make a pillow with your hands, rest your forehead down and breathe. Stay here, or start to bend your right knee, bringing your right heel toward the glute. And again, for many of us, this is absolutely plenty of sensation. Feel free to stay. If you wanted to, on your inhalation, maybe you lift your chest a little bit up and you can reach your right arm around, keeping your thumb facing down, and perhaps you catch the pinky side of your right foot. And you draw your right heel a little bit more toward the glute, not necessarily a lot. Perhaps your forehead comes back down. One more breath, inhale. And on your exhalation, always making sure that the leg doesn't slingshot, my friend. Slowly release your right leg. If you grabbed it, bring both hands under your forehead. Breathe in. And breathe out. You can stay here, or maybe start to bend your left knee. And again, just notice how the sensation can gradually intensify if you gradually move with your breath. Once you find what works for you, which is not necessarily what worked on the other side, make a choice. Do I want to stay here? What is my capacity for finding the edge today? Or is it ease that I seek? So maybe you stay down here, or maybe on your inhalation, you could lift your chest a little and reach your left arm around, keeping your thumb facing down toward the ground and catching the pinky side of your left foot. You could stay up, or perhaps you draw, again, very slowly, very gradually, your left heel toward the glute, any amount, and your forehead can come back down. One more breath, inhale, and exhale. Release your foot if you grabbed it. Again, make sure the leg doesn't slingshot down. Let it go slowly down, as slowly as it came up. This time, bring both hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, lift your chest. Notice the space and the opening in the front body. Maybe let your hips move side to side, your shoulders move, your head move. Doesn't have to look like anything in particular. Perhaps you just let it feel good. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, bring your hips back. This time, bring your big toes to touch. Separate your knees. And perhaps you grab a block and you bring it between your heels and your sitting bones and you sit on it. Perhaps a block comes in front of you, and instead of taking your forehead to the ground, you can rest your forehead on a block. Find stillness, or perhaps you move a little side to side. Inhale. And exhale. One more, breathe in. Breathe out. Lift your forehead up and slowly start to draw your knees toward one another as you lift your torso. You could stay seated on your heels, or you could lift yourself up. Now on your inhalation, take your arms up. Take a gentle press of the hips forward. And on your exhalation, let your arms melt to the sides and down, 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 down. Bring your torso back to neutral. Maybe sit back down toward the heels and stay there for a moment. So again, you could repeat the same thing sitting on the heels, or maybe as you inhale, you lift up, the arms circle up and out. And as you exhale, you let your arms melt to the sides and down, down, down. Maybe you sit down to the heels. Depends on how much movement and how much you want to use the legs. One more time. Inhale. Open up as much as you want. And exhale this time. Bring yourself back down to the heels. Take your arms behind you and perhaps catch opposite wrists or opposite elbows. Draw the shoulder blades toward one another. Widen through the chest. Inhale. And exhale. One more. Breathe in. And breathe out. Release your arms. Bring yourself back to a tabletop, or perhaps you find a downward facing dog. It's absolutely up to you. Let your right leg lift up and back, whether you're in tabletop or down dog. Inhale. Exhale, draw your right knee to your chest. Shift your weight forward. Right foot between your hands, however you want to get it there. Maybe you give your ankle a little bit of help with your right hand. You can feel free to lower your left knee down to the ground or not. If you lower your left knee down, we'll go back into that half split position, extending the front leg. If your left knee is up, take a half step forward with your left foot, or maybe more, until your left heel starts to ground down, and then start to stretch through both legs as much as feels good. If you have blocks, perhaps your fingertips are on the blocks. Otherwise, your hands could be on your right shin or your right thigh. But continue to draw your right hip back and your left hip forwards. You could also take your arms by your ears if you want to play a little bit more with strength. If you want to play with the flexibility of your shoulders, bring your arms behind your back. And again, you could catch opposite wrists or opposite elbows. Or you could interlace your hands and stretch back through the fists. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale, release your hands to the floor or your blocks. Make your way back to your tabletop or your downward dog. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And out through your nose or your mouth. From tabletop or down dog, inhale, left leg up. Exhale, left knee to the chest. Shift your weight forward. Left foot between your hands, right knee down or up is absolutely up to you. So again, if your right knee is down, inhale. And on your exhalation, extend your left leg. And then again, you can stay here or you can start to play with what you want to do with the arms, right? If your right knee is off the floor, take a couple steps forward. Press back and down through the right heel, lengthen your spine. And stay with your hands supported. Or again, if you want to play with your arms, play as much as you want, my friend. Remember why you came to the mat today. What is your intention? Can you feel 1% more connected to your value, to your goal? One more breath, inhale. Exhale, release the hands, move any props, and make your way to a child's pose. Big toes together, knees wide. Forehead to the earth or to your blocks. Breathe. Notice your capacity for softening once again. For becoming aware of how the energy has shifted. And giving yourself grace no matter what you find. One more breath here, inhale. And exhale. On your next inhalation, slowly lift yourself up, bring yourself to a seat, and then come down toward your back. Perhaps you bring your blocks with you, or at least keep them nearby, just in case you want to use them. Now bring your feet flat to the ground, parallel to one another, near your sitting bones, and then your arms next to your body with your palms down. You can absolutely stay here, noticing the back body grounded, pressing the back body onto the earth. Or maybe on your next inhalation, you choose to lift your hips up any amount, opening the front of the body once again. Inhale here. And on your exhalation, slowly lower your hips all the way back down. Draw your right knee toward your chest and stay here, giving it a hug. Maybe you move side to side a few times or take a couple of circles. Or if you rather, on your next inhalation, interlace your hands under your right thigh and extend your right leg up. You could take a few moments here to mobilize the ankle again. Or perhaps you start to slide your hands through the back of the leg and up and up and up. But notice if you start to lift your head up or crunch up or create a lot of tension. One more inhale. And on your exhalation, slowly, if you extended the leg, bend your knee again, but this time cross your right ankle over your left knee. Your knee, your right knee, could stay close to the center of the chest, or you can one more breath wherever you are. Inhale. And on your exhalation, unravel whatever you twisted. Bring your arms next to your body, feet flat on the ground. And on your inhalation, again, lift your hips as little or as much as you want into a bridge pose. And on your exhalation, slowly lower down. This time the left knee comes toward your chest. You can give yourself a hug. You can move a little side to side or take circles. Or if you'd like to extend and deep stretch the back of your left leg, on your inhalation, interlace your hands under your left thigh and begin to extend your left leg as little or as much as you want until you find the sensation that works for you. And if you think that the sensation that's working for you is actual pain, I invite you to reconsider, my friend. Perhaps the hand slides up, perhaps it stays where they are. You can change your mind. But notice how able you are to be with what is. One more breath, inhale. And on your exhalation, you can start to bend the knee if you extended the leg and cross your left ankle over the right thigh, drawing your left knee out as little or as much as feels good for you today. Movement or stillness. Or perhaps you choose to lift your right foot off the floor and draw the legs toward the chest. You don't necessarily have to do the same thing on both sides. Do what feels right when you truly listen and observe the breath and the energy. One more inhale. And on your exhalation, unravel the legs. This time stretch your entire body, legs down, arms overhead. Squeeze your muscles, including the muscles of the face as you inhale, tighten, 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 tighten. And as you exhale, let it all go. Feel free to do that again if you want to. Inhale to tighten, 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 squeeze. And exhale to fully let go and relax. Notice how you feel as you release the practice and the movement. And I invite you to, if you of course have the time today, stay in stillness for 5 minutes more or maybe even 10. If, however, it's time for you to move on with the activities of your day or your evening, give yourself 2 or 3 more breaths in stillness, wherever you are. And then at your own pace, at your own speed, start to bring movement back into your physical body. Perhaps you move your fingers, your head, or your toes. Becoming aware of your surroundings once again. Stretching out, moving. And eventually, perhaps you start to bring yourself back to a seat. Resting your hands on your lap or your knees. Wherever it resonates, one hand to the abdomen, one hand to the heart. And truly give yourself this pause before you continue with whatever you have. A pause to truly know yourself in this moment, physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically. And recognizing that this self-awareness is responsibility. To give grace not only to yourself, but to those you encounter. To be kind. To be yourself. No more, no less. Take a deep inhalation through your nose. Deepest breath you've taken all day. Hold this abundance of life at the top. And sigh it out. Take a moment to repeat within or without. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And once you feel ready, not a moment before, release the hands. Let your eyes slowly open, welcoming the world again. Perhaps feeling the same that you did before. Perhaps feeling a little bit more in tune with your body, with your mind, and with your energy. Thank you, friends. I hope that you all enjoyed the practice today. I appreciate you so much. I hope that this felt however it needed to feel for you today. My intention with these accessible practices is to give you the freedom to theme it the way that works for you, right? I just add snippets of whatever I'm working with. Because yeah, I think that and I think this is the reminder, is that if I start from a different place, not every day that I get on my mat, but every time that I pause and check in with myself, right? Like I can be in very different physical, mental, and energetic places. I have to consider that everybody else is also dealing with the exact same. And not everybody else has the tools, capacity, privilege of pausing and checking in. And so, like I was saying in the final meditation, I believe that as people that do have at least the knowledge, right, that these practices exist, it is our responsibility to go out into the world. And even if we just remember once that day to use what you have, use the tools, the resources, the skills, the gifts that you have to make the world a better place. Yeah. Because I think that we focus a lot on self-care, but self-care is community care. One, I do not believe makes sense without the other. So if y'all don't have any more questions, it is hot as hell in this room, as you can see. So I'm gonna go not in this room. So I hope that you have a fabulous Monday and a fabulous week. And I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.